So I started reading Wuthering Heights a couple weeks ago in preparation for the film coming out, and I thought it was great. Originally published in 1847, which is a long time ago. Quite an old book. It's considered a masterpiece, and of course it's a classic. And yeah, it's not generally the kind of book that I would be super excited by. Like, my favorite book is House of Leaves, but I really enjoyed it, and I have wanted to read it for a while because of its classic status. The reason I wanted to read the book in preparation for seeing this film is because Emerald Fennell is the director.
Hi, I'm Emerald Fennell.
Now, Saltburn and Promising Young Woman are not like my all-time favorite films, but I thought they were really interesting and pretty unique. I like when a director has their own sense of style, and you can really tell an Emerald Fennell film. That's why I was interested in doing, the full experience. Let me read the book, and then I'll see the film, and I'll compare. And I've tried to avoid all and any reviews or spoilers of the film. Hopefully I haven't shot myself in the foot entirely by reading the book first if the film is completely different, but I'm hopefully going to be open to that. But yeah, we're gonna go watch the movie and I will report back with my thoughts. I don't know how it could have been worse. 1 second. I was gonna try skull that, but I cannot skull beer. Hello again. Oh my god. There were some moments that I thought were pretty good, but not for reasons in any way related to why the book was good. I know that Emerald Fennell had put Wuthering Heights in quotation marks, the title, sort of to give her a full license to do whatever the hell she wanted, which she definitely did. It is so unrelated now to the book that it might as well be an entirely different thing. It just has some of the same character names. There are entire characters from the book that have been removed completely, and ones that I thought were quite integral, such as Kathy's brother, Hindley. The film does just only tell half of the story, although it does not really tell the story very accurately towards the book. It's very, very different. So I did shoot myself in the foot a little bit by reading the book before watching the movie. I kind of actually regret that. The book is a lot better than the film, in my opinion. First and foremost, let's talk about casting choices. Even though I knew what the cast of Wuthering Heights was before reading the book, I didn't really picture Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi while I was reading the book. Obviously, primarily because Heathcliffe is described in the book as being not necessarily a white guy. He's written as having dark skin. So the casting choices were based on Fennell's sort of fantasy idea of what she pictured and what she felt like when she read it when she was 14. I do wonder if she's read it since she was 14. That's really harsh, but I mean more so a book that centrally was about obsession and a spiritual deep connection between two people that becomes everybody else's problem through multi-generations, and the cruelty of Heathcliff because of that is, instead of it being this connection deep spiritual thing, it just becomes physical, it becomes sexual and smutty. The way that Fennell, I guess, tried to translate these themes of obsession and passion and stuff was just to make it, let's have sex in it, or like a lot of sex. Let's open the film with a sex act. The film kind of seems to entirely focus on that sexiness, desire, smuttiness, when the book itself was much more about the themes of generational trauma, vengeance, etc., jealousy, the way we hurt each other and the way that pain then twists somebody else into hurting another person. How do we rectify that with kindness? She did market it as a romance, like it's come out on Valentine's Day, like it's supposed to be this romantic film to take a date to. And yeah, the book's not like that at all. So it's just so interesting that she chose to tell this story and call it Wuthering Heights, because she's banking a little bit on the IP. It's a classic title, it has a big fan base. So she's using the name of Wuthering Heights in order to get buzz and attention, but then telling pretty much a completely different story. So yeah. In the cinema, I wrote some notes. First time I've really done that while watching a movie, and I wrote them in the dark, so here we go. So I'm gonna have to talk about this element, and it is slightly a spoiler, I guess. Skip ahead to this if you don't want to hear about it. So in the book, Heathcliff and Kathy never sleep together, never. Never. They don't even really kiss on the lips, if my memory of the scene is correct, where they finally sort of embrace in a really romantic way. There's kisses exchanged in a sense, but I think they're like more like face kisses and like an embracing and stuff. What is so interesting about the book is that it can do this sort of obsessive love and desire without it ever consummating. That is part of the tragedy of it, that Heathcliff and Cathy never actually get to be together in this life. And it's such a tragedy of mistimings and the problems with class getting in the way of who gets to be together. And I get, again, why maybe this is Fennell's fantasy, because she was probably reading the book when she was 14 and being like, oh, I just want them to fuck. They just gotta fuck. I'm gonna write a fucking movie where they do fuck. It's only fucking. Sorry. But that is what it feels like. It just feels like, so now there's so much sex. Like there's so much. They get together. She's cheating on her husband, who in the book she has way fonder feelings for than what's represented in the movie.
Wuthering Heights, huh? You picked up on the subtle hostility towards romanticism, right? I mean, Catherine's just as bound to Edgar as she is to Heathcliff. She takes a lock of his hair to the grave, too.
Well, duh.
So she cheats on her husband a bunch, f***ing Heathcliff, and it ends in a really grotesque, tragic way in the movie. I'm going to admit this might be a bit embarrassing. I found some of the moments of smuttiness, like, okay, that's kind of hot. They were kind of hot. I just wish that they were in a different movie or something, or she'd done something like, just not called it Wuthering Heights. But overall, laughable. Another spoiler is that the film ends with Cathy dying and her baby dying, and she's just bleeding out everywhere and it's a lot of blood. Heathcliff never makes it to her bedside in the movie. It's just really tragic and it's fucked, and she dies. In the book, that's the halfway point. The baby does survive, and the second half of the novel follows that child and the children of Heathcliff and the rest of them. But Cathy still dies at the halfway point, and this is obviously like Heathcliff makes it and is able to be with her towards the end of her life in her final moments, but they're never able to like consummate or whatever. The reason why Cathy ends up dying in the book is because of like mental illness. Her and Heathcliff are pulled apart because of a jealous husband told that she can no longer see Heathcliff. That drives her mentally insane, and she doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep, and all that stuff leads to her death while giving birth. In the film, it seems more so that her she had some medical issue going on with the baby that was ignored by Nellie, and that's what causes her death. So instead it becomes this sort of like physical thing rather than it being a mental thing of psychosis, and again the manifestation of obsession. Instead it's just this like physical thing. I don't know. Also, this film is very BDSM coded, which is like, go off, King, if you're into that stuff, fine. Very different, again, from the vibes of the book. Also, I think it does it in a kind of an odd way. There's a character, Isabella, who is the sister of Linton, who Cathy marries instead of Heathcliff, and that causes the initial tension of like, So Heathcliff, in revenge, basically kidnaps Isabella, Linton's little sister, and brutalizes her for many years, kind of like torture. Like, he's an absolute psychopath. If I remember correctly, he kills her dog, and she is not okay with this behavior. She feels trapped. She is metaphorically chained to this man, has no real means of escape, and is suffering and is feeling awful. In the movie, this gets twisted into her wanting to be treated that way, and it's so odd. Like, it is so profoundly odd. He is the massive arsehole to her, and she's like, yes please, daddy. And I don't know how to, like, I really feel quite odd about it, because I don't know if it was because Fennell didn't want Heathcliff to be completely irredeemable in the movie, because she wanted him to still be seen as this romantic leading man and wanted you to like him, because in the book you cannot like this man after a certain point. It becomes pretty much impossible because of his psychopathic nature, and the way he treats Isabella, like, is just beyond awful. But now she wants it. What? At times it looked Tim Burton-esque, like it was trying to be Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, and then at other times it was symmetrical, like a Wes Anderson film, and then at other times it was trying to be more naturalistic in the visuals. So it was a bit like cluttered in what it was like attempting to be. It just didn't feel entirely secure in the impression it was trying to give off. There is so much like references to sex and genitalia and stuff like that that is just 100% Emerald Fennell's input. She's fundamentally changed the vibe of it to be horny and smutty for I don't know why. But I guess to make a romance movie and to make a smutty little sexy fan fiction romance depiction of it. I mean, that's what it is. So, do I think I would have liked this movie if I hadn't read the book? No. The film is so obvious that it just seems so juvenile. Truly, there is a pop-up book in this film, and a little bit this film feels like a pop-up book itself and a dumbed down version of the novel. The other thing is, I really did like Promising Young Woman and Saltburn, but the moments I thought were weakest about those films was when I went too much into stylistic melodrama. Like, for example, at the end of Promising Young Woman, it kind of turns a bit into a music video, and then the same for Saltburn. That stuff gets turned up to 20 in Wuthering Heights. There are multiple moments that feel like music videos, and they could be like a Taylor Swift music video from 2010. It just feels so Tumblified and unearned musical breaks in a sense. I am interested in watching this film again after some time, but yeah, overall, not a great experience. I would definitely recommend reading the book if you are a reader, if you're interested in checking out a classic masterpiece. I mean, watch the movie. Who cares, right? It is laughable in places. It's silly. It's horny. It is what it is. It's very, 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 very different from the book in key integral ways. So maybe we just have to accept that. Maybe this will become some sort of classic in its own right. I do kind of doubt it, but I am still excited to see what Emerald Fennell does in the future. I still think she's an interesting director, primarily because she does her own thing. She has a style. She has a director's mark on her movies, and I like that. So I'm not completely done with her. We will see what she does in the future. I hope that she, instead of putting a classic novel in quotation marks and doing whatever the hell she wants with it, she should just do another one of her own stories. Because the other thing is, Saltburn, in my opinion, Saltburn is actually closer to the vibe of the novel of Wuthering Heights than Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights is. Like, the themes of revenge and annihilation of entire families, someone of lesser means taking over from those with a lot more means. And to be honest, Margot Robbie's age gap with Jacob Elordi is a little bit noticeable. She does look her age, which is absolutely fine. I mean, she actually looks kind of younger than she is. She looks around 30 or something, but she does not look 16, 17, 18 or early 20s. Whatever. I can forgive that sort of stuff if the story and every other element and stuff was there. The truth is, look, I didn't need it to be super closely resembling the book, but I had hoped that the changes Emerald would make would benefit it being a visual and film medium and not completely mess with everything and just destroy it from the inside out. I'm gonna read one paragraph from the novel because I want to give you a sense of its beautiful writing, the reason why it is considered a classic masterpiece. Catherine's face was just like the landscape, shadows and sunshine flitting over it in rapid succession. But the shadows rested longer and the sunshine was more transient, and her poor little heart reproached itself for even that passing forgetfulness of its cares. I don't know, I really dig that sort of stuff. Thank you for watching. I might hopefully be doing more of these little review things just to be able to get more content out there. My next video essay is all about rom-coms, the classic era of rom-coms, and why romantic comedies feel so different today because of streaming, technology, also the economy, and a little thing called heterofatalism, which I'm quite interested in. Please subscribe if you're interested in that. Check out the rest of my channel, or just have a great day and maybe I'll never see you again. If not, all the best.